Hello Simracers, James here. I wanted to share my 2 week later impression of the Simagic GT Neo wheel and the Simagic Alpha Mini direct drive wheelbase. Now I've come from 3 years of ownership of the Fanatec DD1 and the Formula V2 wheels. I've got quite a bit of experience with a direct drive wheelbase over the last few years, hardware and software. So without revealing too much at the moment, I'd say I'm very happy with the Simagic hardware and software, but we'll touch on the any pros and cons later on in the video, guys. So to start off this video, I've actually installed or decided on the sticker decal position for the GT Neo wheel. So let's have a look at how the wheel looked in its vanilla state and how it looks now. So this is the wheel switched off without any decals or stickers, guys, and I've decided to install the stickers in this orientation. This is the wheel as it looks now, switched on with the default RGB LEDs, and these are the sticker positions that I've opted for. Okay, and let's have a look at the comparison, the before and after. So this is the before and after, again the default lighting. Let's just transition to the wheel installed on my rig, guys. Right, here we are with the Simagic GT Neo GT wheel attached to my Simagic Alpha Mini, my new sim rig, guys. So if I just push on the wheel, you'll see the boot sequence for the RGB LEDs. These are the default colours for the buttons. So you can see at the start of the video, these are the sticker position, decal positions that I've opted for. It's only the DRS here that I might change for something else, but I've got in AMS2, the Formula Ultimate cars, I've mapped the right side clutch panel for the actual DRS activation, but I don't drive those cars. I only tested it the other day just to map the various sims with the new sticker positions. Yeah, so the DRS one, I've deliberately got that there because I prefer to have TC0 next to the 7-way funky switch for traction control, and then the slip angle for the traction control as well for the likes of Le Mans Ultimate. But yeah, TC0 is next to the 7-way funky switch, which controls like the traction control for me. It's my preference. So yeah, these are the bottom positions that I've opted for. I think it definitely looks better, the Simagic GT Neo, with the stickers attached after me running just the vanilla with no stickers for over a week. It looks better for sure. Yeah. So yeah, the construction of the wheel, if I just take this off the shaft of the Alpha Mini, you can see it is really solid. I do like the embossed logo at the top. It doesn't light up, but probably a good job it doesn't actually, be honest. I think it would be too much of a distraction if that was something that lit up. So you've also got the Simagic logo on the back of the top of the quick release as well. There we go. So yeah, and I've not adjusted the position of the gear shift paddles, just left these in the default, but there is a few millimeters of adjustability, maybe if you've preference or if you've got slightly smaller hands. I don't have big hands at all, just average, but yeah, but these are fine for me. The use of the dual clutch is nice as well. You can see I've got the MagLink installed, so that was just a case of removing these 4 bolts and then 2 connectors inside on 2 sets of wires, and then just offering this back up to the new plate. Simple. But yeah, the default is this USB-C connectivity, and then it does connect wirelessly to the Simagic Alpha Mini, this wheel as well. But it's not something I've used because I've got the MagLink for the extra functionality that gives. Yeah, so it's a nice looking wheel. I'm really impressed for sure. It's nice in the hand. Certainly the size of it. So if I just offer this up to the wheel again, you've got the 6 ball bearings at the top, the 4 at the bottom. The quick release is very sturdy. So I've come from there we go. So there's the boot sequence, guys, again. Yeah, looks very nice. These are the default colours. So if I just here's the MagLink on the curly cord, and then they give you an extension as well, and then a little bracket that I've mounted to my aluminium profile comes with the MagLink kit. So this was £22 and just over £22 from Race Anywhere in the UK. So if I offer this up to the back of the GT Neo, it's quite a strong magnet, and then again, just obviously go, if you try and offer it the wrong way, it resists. So, but it's just a case of just connect it and forget it, really. But yeah, so these are the positions of the decals that I've gone for. I like the rotary encoders; they're nice to use. There are some aftermarket CNC machined encoders that I've seen, but I'm not too concerned about plastic versus that. But we'll see in time. Might choose to swap these out potentially, but yeah, so I've got the traction control on the right hand side, 7-way funky switch, and then the left hand side 7-way funky switch I've got as the multi-function display in the likes of ACC and AMS2 and Le Mans Ultimate, and then I use the brake balance on this side and then the slip angle, and then I've got, as I say, I've got TC0 on this button deliberately, rather than potentially pressing on this. I've got that separate, and then I would normally have, like, if I do say a certain track where I run TC1 and TC2, and then yeah, I'll do it up and then down, just change it per track when I'm doing a race. Easy to do, or you can just obviously do up and down, just all the way through the traction control settings, especially if you're in a dry wet or wet to dry race. The only negative I have with this wheel, guys, is just one very slight negative. Buttons at the top of the wheel, so these 6, okay, you'll see what I mean in a moment. The bottom 4, if you've got writing on these stickers, so rather than maybe more than a symbol, you see what I'm doing with my thumb, these rotate a fraction of like a quarter of a turn, and it's only a very small negative. The top buttons don't do this. They're just fixed, but these bottom ones, you can see where I've got DRS. I can actually turn this, so if you've got maybe OCD, which I don't have, yeah, these rotate very slightly, which is a little bit strange, but whereas the top 6 do not do so, but it's not even a fraction of a percentage of an issue of just something I thought I'd mention is maybe it might be something specific to my GT Neo wheel, but I imagine it'd be something that's common to this wheel. But other than that, I absolutely love the wheel, the size of it. As I say, I've come from the Fanatec DD1 Formula wheel, and this feels like a proper size wheel, the wheel that I should be using, and I just love it. Love the construction of it, the aesthetic of the wheel. It looks much nicer now with the decals installed. Obviously, the position that you install your own stickers off the sticker sheet is up to you guys, but this is what I've opted for. It's only maybe the DRS that I may swap out for something else or just not use it. But after a while, I won't look at what they say. It's just more the fact that a reminder in the various different sims when I jump from sim to sim what I've actually mapped where. But it's pretty common to most of them anyway. But yeah, what I'll do is we'll have a look at the RGB to see how we can change that in SimHub, to see how we can customize these with some of the profiles from Daniel Newman Racing, to see what that looks like, and then finish the video with some driving, guys. Here we are in the SimHub software. Let's see what configuration options we have for the GT Neo, the lighting effects. So at the moment we've got the default lighting for the wheel. See the decal positions that I've chosen, guys, but ignoring that, these are the default colours. We've got, so yeah, it's a nice looking wheel. The red for the encoders, and then these are the default colours. Not customised any of these as yet to the GT Neo. So the SimHub software gives us plenty of options. Can configure every button, all the encoders, multiple lighting options, and I've also got the Daniel Newman profiles, Daniel Newman Racing profiles. So if I just at the moment choose these defaults, you'll see that if you wanted to just have an all red wheel, all green, all blue, let's just go with the red, and then basically if you double click or press edit preset in SimHub, you literally just click on the button. So let's go with one of the encoders, and here it is literally as simple as just changing the colour. You can see, change the colours for the various buttons and encoders, and then just save it. But I've got the Daniel Newman profile, so we'll go back to the default now. This is the default profile. Daniel Newman Simple Profile and Advanced, so these are freely available. So this is the Daniel Newman profile. You can see how the colours have changed, the default colours have changed now. If I likewise do edit profile, got multiple effects and things you can do as well. You can configure when the RPM light starts as well, so we've got different effects for the rev lights, starting position. So if I was to do the default's 59, it's not going to show it now because a game is not running, a sim's not running, but let's try and pick something that will change. So if I just do the plus and minus, you'll see now that the start position, the lighting is changing, but there's just customization to your heart's content, guys, with these. Even the default profiles, you can edit the encoders and the buttons, and then you've got the likes of Daniel Newman Racing, the simple and advanced profiles, and you can also pay. There's a paid option with Daniel Newman Racing as well, and even a custom option on his website as well, which is quite good. But this is all the default, the simple and advanced profiles. So yeah, there's just so much you can do within this software. I'd highly recommend it. And as an added benefit as well, you go into statistics, anyone who doesn't know, you've got the recent sessions. So for the Mon Ultimate, the sector times are a little bit difficult to come by, depending on what session you're in. But here it will show your session times, So I have an example on screen, and your average lap times as well. You can just right click and delete them. It's really useful, and obviously other things as well that you can configure in this software. So I definitely recommend using this if you've got like a DDU or base shakers, etc. But yeah, so basically at the moment, what we'll do now is we'll transition into the Sim Pro Manager. So here's the Sim Pro Manager software, the Simagic GT Neo in this case, and the Alpha Mini wheelbase. So the software just does what it says in the tin, guys. It just works. I've not had a single issue with the software. It's really intuitive. If I go into games, you see we've got some default profiles here. You can just select edit. You can just, the maximum obviously in this wheelbase is 10 Newton meters. All I tend to change is just the percentage, the slider bar, and then I do have some save profiles as well. And then I've changed the mechanical friction in some, but this is the default for AMS2. One thing I have noticed with AMS2 when I drove the Formula Ultimate car is the other thing I've changed is this default 3 for AMS2, the Formula Ultimate car that I'd never driven before. There's like a graininess, a feeling through the wheelbase, almost like you'd have in Le Mans Ultimate when you've got a bit of a flat spot. Not like that, but yeah, so basically what I did, you see here now, I come out of this screen and go into games, and then if I click on the drop down, I basically tested the Formula Ultimate car. I've changed the force feedback from 60 to 80 of 10 Newton meters, I increased it preference, you know, and then I've changed the smoothness from 3. The default in the included profile was 3, but with 4, it took that, for want of a better word, like a graininess, a strange feeling in the wheel, even on the straights. So 3 was too low for me. Obviously, depending on how much force feedback you're running, it might dial that out as well, and other in-game settings. But I definitely found in the Formula Ultimate that the smoothness 3, the default, was too low, and I also went the other way, and then it was a very strange feeling. I tried to oscillate the wheel really fast on the straights. Yeah, 4 seemed to be the sweet spot for the Formula Ultimate in AMS2, and also I tried the LMDH car in AMS2 as well, and it was the same feeling with the smoothness at 3. So I'll put it back to 4. So it's just exactly the same, sort of like a weird, a strange graininess. But again, it may depend on some other settings like the likes of friction and the damper. I haven't done full testing on that, but it was definitely there with the default of 3. And then I loaded up Le Mans Ultimate, and to get anything like a similar feeling, I'll just load one of these profiles here now. The default. Let's go into games and choose. Let's go with the hypercar. So this is the default on touch, not overwritten. So this is what is kind of like recommended settings. I guess 70%. I'm on 80. Force feedback. Yeah, so the default smoothness here is 4. Now, after testing AMS2 with the Alpha Mini wheelbase and discovering what in the Formula Ultimate and the LMDH car, that strange grainy sensation, even on the straights, it was definitely there. I'm not imagining things. To get a similar feeling in Le Mans Ultimate was here, or even here, but it wasn't the same. Obviously, it's a different sim, simulates things in different ways. But yeah, again, preference really, just like the friction and damping and any inertia, the slider bars. Once you find what you want, what you like, you can just save these guys as I've done. I've not done any comprehensive testing, but that smoothness thing, as I say, is the only thing I tend to now tweak after discovering that slight issue, so to speak, with the smoothness being 3 for the Formula Ultimate car in AMS2. And again, in Le Mans Ultimate, to have anything approaching a similar feeling, it was literally smoothness down at 1 or 0 in the LMP2 car that I tested on the same track, Monza. Obviously a different sim, but the same track. So yeah, maybe you do need to try and run in AMS2 smoothness 1 higher than the default, which again was, let's find that again. Went to edit, so that this had this weird sensation. What I'll probably do is do some driving, and then I will, yeah, I will actually load up AMS2 and run smoothness 3, and then run smoothness 4. But smoothness 5, I didn't even go above 5. Just felt completely wrong with the in-game settings as well. But yeah, 3 was a little bit too low. But the actual software, to use this software, can't fault it. I cannot fault the software. I mean, it's really impressive. What things you can do, what you can see. Yeah, definitely impressed with this, guys. See, I've got all the games listed there. Many games. You can just obviously launch the game from here as well, which is convenient. Got FAQs as well. So if you've got any issues, you might find something in here. I've not had any issues whatsoever. You can auto updates check automatically anyway. You can see the update, and you can force an update check in this tab as well. Minimize the system tray, launch with Windows, the standard stuff. The software works really well compared to what I've experienced with Fanatec and having the separate Fanalab application. Really impressed with this guy. So what we'll do now is do some driving. I'll load up AMS2 and yeah, see you on track. Here we are at Monza in Automobilista 2 in the Formula Ultimate car. I wanted to test that sensation that I felt in this car with the smoothness, the default smoothness from the Sim Pro Manager profile for AMS2. The default smoothness is 3. Now I've set it to 4 because I've already tested it at 3. It's definitely there. So it might be the sim just trying to simulate the road surface, but a feeling that I'm not particularly on board with. So I've changed the smoothness to 4. And then just do a little bit of driving in this car. Now, I don't drive these cars, as I said before, don't drive the Formula cars, so these cars are pretty quick compared to what I'm used to driving, but just thought I'd do something different and then just see if it is, let's double check that smoothness setting, guys. Right, so let's just drive this. So I've got the defaults, you can see as I drive out the pits, these are the default RGBs. So there's no Daniel Newman Racing profile set at the moment. For the end of this video, just the default LEDs, RGBs, so when the revs show shortly, that's all the default guys. So I'm running 80% of 10 Newton meters and 100% force feedback, the vehicle specific force feedback. Now just, again, I do not drive these cars, guys, just I'm driving something I normally drive. I'm not used to driving a car that needs a gear change every few tenths of a second, certainly the first 5 or 6 gears anyway. Yeah, the force feedback does feel nice. No idea where to brake in these cars. Yeah, so with the smoothness set to 4, 1 higher than the default, that feeling, and it's not just a feeling in fairness, it's a feeling through the wheelbase and an audible sound. I've double checked it. So what I felt as the DRS, it's just enable the DRS with the right clutch pedal rather than the button. I think I'm using the right clutch pedal for the DRS. Yeah, so it's actually an audible sound as well from the wheelbase. With the smoothness set to 3 in these cars anyway, and I also tested the LMDH car and AMS2, and it's the same. Just set the smoothness to 4, dials that out. So again, it might be the way the sim AMS2 simulates the road surface or something else, but yeah, don't seem to have the same issue unless I put the smoothness to 1 or 0 on the LMP2 car in Le Mans Ultimate to get anything like a similar feeling. So I don't play the F1 game guys. The last time I played the F1 game was F1 2013. 2014 a little bit, so that gives you an idea how long it's been since I've driven Formula cars. I'm just only driving this because I've remapped the buttons for AMS2 after putting the decals on my wheel and the stickers on the wheel. So just me, these things are fast. Yeah, the force feedback is really nice, it's really smooth. See, the thing I've mentioned about the smoothness, it's not saying it's an issue, but for me, it's all, all subjective, guys. That feeling is now gone if I just deliberately oscillate the wheel. So the smoothness set to 4, got 80% of 10 Newton meters, so probably run this a little bit higher. So 100% vehicle specific force feedback. I think the main gain setting in AMS2 set to 60. So yeah, this does feel quite nice. Let's just finish this lap. And what I'll do is I'll just finish by jumping in the LMP2 car in Le Mans Ultimate at Monza. Right, here we are in Le Mans Ultimate in the LMP2 car. I've got the smoothness thing as I'm looking at the moment, guys, just to see what it's like in Le Mans Ultimate versus AMS2. See what this is like. So at the moment, the default Sim Pro Manager smoothness setting is 4. Yeah, 4, so don't expect to feel anything whatsoever. I will change that as I drive. Let's just drive the first sector, some of the first sector. So just literally come straight from AMS2, the Formula Ultimate car, into something a little bit slower, but not going for lap time, just it's all about the sensation. And right, okay, so if I just park the car very briefly, guys, and then so I did test this very briefly yesterday after experiencing what I did in the smoothness through the wheel in AMS2 in the Formula Ultimate car. If I change this smoothness to 2 in the Simple Manager, this Le Mans Ultimate profile, just set off again. So it was 4, the default. Just waiting to see what I can feel. Yeah, so just change this again. I think it was 1. Just stop the car. Change the smoothness to 1. So in Simple Manager it's now 1. Right, just try and see if I can replicate a similar feeling in Le Mans Ultimate. So the default's 4, so Le Mans Ultimate, the hypercars. Let's just go through the Ascari chicane. Again, it's all subjective, just in terms of how you expect your wheel to feel with combined with the settings that you're on, like the likes of the inertia and feedback, force feedback and the friction. It's not too much difference, to be honest, than the 4. Not experiencing the same feeling as AMS2. Right, I'm not here for lap time, guys, it's just to see if I imagine things with Le Mans Ultimate when I set this to 0, smoothness 0. Right, okay, let's just complete this lap. Just feeling the wheel to see if I can feel any sort of lack of smoothness versus having it on the smoothness 4. This is now on smoothness 0. Okay, I got the 100% brake pedal pressure, but it shouldn't be an issue when I'm actually practiced. I'm just jumping on and driving. Yeah, the force feedback's definitely nice though. So using the 300mm wheel as well. It's a real nice. Well, I think it's fair to say I consider the 300mm wheel size definitely an upgrade, guys, to say the least. Compared to the smaller Fanatec DD1. Yeah, this is perfectly fine, even with the smoothness set to 0. Not experiencing the same feeling as I did in AMS2 in the Formula Ultimate car and the LMDH car, so just finish this lap and then wrap up this video, guys, with a conclusion as to what I think of the Simagic hardware and software. Okay, this is just not a lap time, just not going for a lap time, just tinkering with the smoothness settings and just interested to see what the differences between the two sims. I do drive ACC as well, but for the sake of this video, the purpose of this video, I'll just focus on AMS2 and the Le Mans Ultimate. Testing, checking my mappings for the lights. There we go. So I'm using this as the change camera, so no DRS in this sim. Right, yeah, so let's wrap up this video, guys, with my thoughts. It's fair to say that I'm very happy with the purchase of the Simagic GT Neo wheel and the Simagic Alpha Mini Direct Drive wheelbase. Yeah, I'm really happy. I don't have a single negative thing to say about either the wheel for the wheelbase guys. I thoroughly recommend purchasing one or both, for sure. See, I've come from 3 years of ownership of the Fanatec DD1, so I'm definitely not disappointed with this force feedback, the smoothness, the sort of the power of the force feedback delivery, the wheel. I love the 300mm wheel. I love the lighting, the fact you obviously provide a good selection of stickers that you can use as well for the GT Neo wheel. Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed my time so far with the wheel, so I cannot recommend it enough. Very happy. Yeah, I think value for money is always subjective, but I would say it's definitely value for money, both the wheel itself and the actual direct drive wheelbase. Yeah, just like force feedback, very subjective, guys. One thing I would say is, now I have this mounted to an actual aluminium profile rig. This purchase all came together before I had a tubular GT Omega. The aluminium profile rig does sort of, yeah, doesn't even, it just eats the torque alive from the 10 Newton meter wheelbase. Now, while it has been measured at 12, 13 Newton meters, this Alpha Mini wheelbase, I cannot run, personally, as I've said before in a previous first impression video, I cannot run the higher force feedback, so I was never running above 8 to 10 Newton meters above in the DD1, which is why I knew this would be suitable for me. But if you're someone that, unlike myself, that probably weighs, say, 75 kilos or more, which I don't, if you're someone that's a bit more like Jardier's build, you might want to try and purchase the Alpha or the Ultimate, just to try and give you that little bit more overhead in terms of the force feedback if you like a heavy wheel. But for me, there's ways around this, and as I say, I have a left shoulder issue, so I cannot run the higher force feedback, so this is more than sufficient for myself. And the quality of the force feedback and the detail, I'm very happy with it in ACC, Automobilista 2 and Le Mans Ultimate. Very happy indeed. So yeah, that's the end of the video. I hope you like the video, guys. If you can like and subscribe, and feel free to comment in the chat, in the YouTube comments, and I look forward to seeing what you've got to say. Take care. Cheers.